C. Wright Mills military-industrial complex. C. Wright Mills, a brilliant sociologist, introduced the idea of the military-industrial complex to explain a growing concern in the relationship between governments, militaries, and large industries. To understand this concept, imagine a triangle where three powerful groups, the military, major corporations, and government, come together to create a strong and sometimes dangerous bond. While these groups might seem unrelated, Mills argued that their collaboration could have a big impact on society, often in ways we might not see immediately. Mills observed that modern nations, especially powerful ones like the United States, rely heavily on the military for national security and defense. But the military is not just about soldiers and battles. It is also about advanced weapons, tanks, planes, and technology. Where does all this equipment come from? Private companies make them, and these companies earn massive profits from selling these goods to governments. Over time, these companies and the military form close ties because both benefit from their cooperation. Governments, on the other hand, play a central role. They fund the military using taxpayer money and award contracts to private companies to build weapons and military infrastructure. Politicians often support this system because it creates jobs and boosts industries, which can make them more popular among voters. However, Mills warned that this system could lead to problems when the goals of these three groups do not align with the public's best interests. One of Mills' key concerns was how this partnership could prioritize profit and power over peace and stability. For example, companies that make weapons may benefit more from ongoing wars or conflicts because wars mean more demand for their products. Similarly, the military might push for greater influence in society, arguing that more funding and resources are needed for national security. Politicians, too, might encourage this dynamic because of the political and economic benefits that come with supporting the military and related industries. This relationship, Mills suggested, could lead to an endless cycle of spending and conflict. Countries might focus more on preparing for war than on improving their citizens' quality of life. Resources that could go to education, healthcare, or infrastructure are instead poured into building bigger armies and more advanced weapons. This is not always visible to everyday people, but its effects are felt when essential services are underfunded. Mills was particularly worried about the concentration of power in the hands of a few. In his view, the military-industrial complex allowed elites, wealthy business owners, top military officials, and influential politicians to make decisions that shaped the entire country. These decisions often happened behind closed doors, without public input or oversight. When a small group holds so much power, it becomes difficult for ordinary citizens to challenge their authority or demand transparency. One of the most significant risks Mills highlighted was the loss of democracy. In a democratic society, people are supposed to have a say in how their government works. But when the military-industrial complex grows too powerful, decisions about war, defense, and national spending can be made without considering the public's opinions or needs. Mills feared that this could lead to a society where the voices of the many are drowned out by the interests of the few. Another concern was the cultural impact. In a society heavily influenced by the military-industrial complex, people may come to see war and conflict as normal or even necessary. The media, controlled by the same elites, might glorify military power or portray it as essential for safety and progress. This can shape how people think about global issues, making them more likely to support aggressive policies or view other nations as enemies. Despite his warnings, Mills did not believe that the military-industrial complex was entirely bad. He recognized that some level of defense and military preparation is necessary for any country. What he questioned was the imbalance and lack of accountability in this system. He wanted people to be aware of these dynamics so they could demand more transparency and fairness from their leaders. Today, Mills' ideas are still incredibly relevant. Modern conflicts, rising defense budgets, and the influence of large corporations in politics all echo the concerns Mills raised decades ago. For example, debates about military spending often center on whether governments should prioritize defense over other public needs. Similarly, questions about the ethics of selling weapons to other countries remind us of the complex ties between profit and power. Understanding the military-industrial complex is not just about learning history, it is about recognizing how systems of power work in the present. By becoming aware of these dynamics, we can start asking critical questions about where our resources go, who benefits from government decisions, and how we can create a more balanced and fair society. If you found this explanation helpful and want to explore more sociological ideas, do not forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring these important concepts to life and share them with a wider audience. Thank you for watching.